Today, we're diving deep into a 9-digit number that unlocks billions of dollars in the US economy, but it's probably not the one you're thinking of. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a 9-digit number that's at the very heart of a kind of parallel financial world. It looks almost exactly like a Social Security number, but here's the thing. It doesn't grant any benefits, it doesn't give you legal status, and it absolutely does not give you the right to work. So what is this thing, and how did it become so incredibly important? All right, to really get it, you have to start with the official story. See, when this number was first created way back in 1996, its purpose, at least on paper, was incredibly specific and honestly pretty boring. And here it is, the Individual Taxpayer Identification Number, or ITIN for short. It's basically a tool that was designed for one single agency, the IRS. The whole idea was just to let people who can't get a Social Security number still comply with U.S. tax law. It was a mechanism, a simple way to bring more people into the tax system. That's it. And this is where you see the really clear line in the sand between an ITIN and an SSN. Yeah, they're both 9 digits, but that's where the similarity ends. The ITIN always starts with a 9, and that's a deliberate signal. But the biggest difference, the one that changes everything, is what these numbers actually let you do. An ITIN is for federal tax reporting, period. It does not authorize you to work in the United States. And that one detail creates this fundamental separation from the Social Security number. But this is where the official story stops, and a much more interesting one begins. Because what started as a simple tool for the IRS has morphed, through sheer necessity and practice, into something way more powerful, a key to the entire U.S. financial system. And this just says it all, doesn't it? That quote isn't from the IRS, it's from a credit union. What happened was, financial institutions started looking at the ITIN and saw something more than a tax number. They saw a reliable, government-issued identifier that they could use to finally offer services to this massive, underserved community. And we're not talking about small stuff. We're talking about the absolute building blocks of a financial life. By deciding to accept the ITN, banks and credit unions threw open a door for people to get checking accounts, secure car loans, get credit cards, and build a credit history. All things that are pretty much impossible to do without a Social Security number. The ITN, by accident or by design, became the key.
And look, if you think this is some small niche thing, think again. In 2019 alone, ITIN filers contributed a net of $5.8 billion in taxes. This one number shows you this powerful relationship. You provide a pathway for tax compliance and financial access, and the result is a massive contribution to the economy.
So, okay, the benefits are pretty clear, but how does somebody actually get one of these things? Well, the process itself is a major hurdle. It's like this gauntlet that really tests an applicant's patience, resources, and honestly, their nerve. It all kicks off with this document, Form W-7. But right away there's a catch. See, since 2003, you can't just send this form in by itself. It has to be attached to a fully completed federal tax return. Now think about that for a second. You can't get the number you need to file your taxes until you've already done all the work of filing your taxes. So here's the whole process laid out. First, you fill out that W-7 form. Second, you staple it to your tax return. And then, number 3, you hit the biggest challenge of them all, proving who you are. This final step is where the system creates a huge bottleneck for so many people. Just look at the options. The IRS accepts 13 different types of documents, but notice that only one of them, a passport, is a standalone document. It proves both your foreign status and your identity all by itself. If you don't have a valid passport, you suddenly have to come up with a combination of at least 2 other documents. And for a lot of people, that's just not a simple ask. And here's the part that's just wild. You have to mail in your original documents or get certified copies directly from whatever agency issued them. We're talking about your actual passport, your birth certificate. You put these incredibly important documents in an envelope, send them off, and then just wait for months, hoping you get them back. I mean, it's an incredibly vulnerable position to put someone in. And that high-stakes process, that feeling of vulnerability, leads us directly to the central tension of the entire ITIN system. It's this deep, unsettling paradox between privacy and risk. It's the big question, right? The one every single applicant has to ask themselves. You are voluntarily giving your name, your address, and all your financial information to the federal government. So, is it safe? Is that information protected? Well, officially, the answer is yes. There's something in the Internal Revenue Code called Section 6103, and it's designed to be this really powerful privacy shield. The general rule is that it forbids the IRS from sharing your personal tax data with other government agencies, and that includes immigration enforcement. But, and this is a huge but, that shield isn't absolute. It has cracks. There are exceptions. If there's a federal court order, the IRS can be forced to share information for criminal investigations that have nothing to do with taxes. It's a pretty narrow loophole, but the fact that it exists at all casts the shadow of risk over the whole program. And the risk isn't just about your immigration status. This story about a woman named Rosa shows a totally different kind of danger. She was an ITIN filer who was incorrectly given the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is a benefit she wasn't actually eligible for. It was a simple bureaucratic mistake, not even her fault, and suddenly she was thousands of dollars in debt to the IRS. The system can be financially dangerous too. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, you realize the ITIN isn't just a number. It's the foundation of an entire parallel system. A system with its own opportunities, its own hidden rules, and its own unique set of risks. And this quote from Ernesto, an ITIN filer, really gets to the heart of why people do it. Filing taxes isn't just about following the rules. It's an act of faith. It's about creating a paper trail, a record of contribution, and holding on to the hope that one day that record will actually matter. In the end, the whole ITIN system is really defined by these core tensions. It was built for tax compliance, but it accidentally created financial access. It promises privacy, but it's always up against the pressures of enforcement. And it offers this real opportunity to build a life, but that path is lined with some very, very real dangers. Which brings us to our final question. The ITIN was created for one simple bureaucratic reason. But out in the real world, what has it actually built? It's built something far more complex, a bridge to the American financial system, but a bridge that demands a toll of trust and risk from every single person who dares to cross it.